Admiral Kate Wilson stood at the massive window of the Space Defense Command Center, her eyes fixed on the holographic display showing countless red dots approaching the solar system. Each dot represented an alien warship, and there were thousands of them. The morning had started normally, but at 9:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, every deep space sensor had lit up with warnings. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission," called out Lieutenant Steve Baker from his communication station. His voice shook slightly. "It's being broadcast on all frequencies." Kate straightened her uniform and nodded. "Put it through." The screen filled with an image that made several junior officers gasp. The alien was tall, with gray-blue skin and multiple eyes arranged in a circle around what appeared to be a central brain case. When it spoke, its words were translated by the AI systems they'd developed after first detecting the alien signals 6 months ago. "People of Earth, we are the Zoraxian Empire. Your planet now falls within our expansion zone. Surrender your resources and accept our rule, or face complete annihilation. You have 6 Earth days to decide." Kate didn't flinch. She'd been preparing for this moment her entire career, even when others had laughed at the idea of alien threats. "Send word to the UN Security Council. Priority Alpha. And get me Dr. Foster immediately." The next 2 hours were a blur of activity. The UN Security Council gathered in record time, with most members joining virtually. On screens around the world, presidents, prime ministers, and military leaders watched in stunned silence as Kate showed them the sensor data. "The Zoraxian fleet will reach Jupiter in 5 days," she explained, pointing to the projection. "Their weapons are beyond anything we've officially revealed to the public. Traditional nuclear weapons would be useless against their shields." "Then we're defenseless?" asked the French president, his face pale. A slight smile crossed Kate's face. "Not exactly." The door opened, and Dr. Marcus Foster walked in. He looked like a typical scientist in his rumpled lab coat, but his eyes held a fierce intelligence. He carried a small black device that looked like a simple tablet. "Dr. Foster has been heading a classified project for the past decade," Kate said. "I believe it's time we showed everyone what humanity is really capable of." Marcus stepped forward and placed his tablet on the table. A hologram appeared, showing a massive ship unlike anything ever seen on Earth. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is the U.S. Prometheus. While the world focused on traditional space programs, we were developing something far more advanced." He pressed a button, and the hologram showed the ship's internal systems. 10 years ago, we discovered something extraordinary, a way to manipulate the quantum matrix that underlies reality itself. This ship doesn't just fly through space, it can alter the fabric of space-time." The room erupted in questions and exclamations. Kate raised her hand for silence. "I know this is a lot to take in. But right now, there are 30,000 alien warships heading toward Earth. They think we're primitive. They expect us to either surrender or die fighting with outdated weapons." She walked around the table, looking each leader in the eye. "The Prometheus is ready. We've kept it secret because we needed the element of surprise. The aliens know everything about our public military capabilities, but they know nothing about this. How do we know it will work?" asked the British Prime Minister. Marcus smiled. "We've tested every system extensively. The quantum matrix drive doesn't just match their technology, it surpasses it. This ship can do things they'll think are impossible." Kate took a deep breath. "We're not asking for permission to use the Prometheus. We're informing you that it's humanity's best hope. In 5 days, when they reach Jupiter, they'll learn that Earth isn't as helpless as they think." The Chinese president leaned forward. "And if it fails?" "Then we'll have lost nothing," Kate replied. "They plan to destroy us anyway, but I don't believe we'll fail. Humanity has always been at its best when faced with impossible odds. The Zoraxians think they're dealing with a primitive species. Let's show them how wrong they are." One by one, the world leaders nodded. They had no choice but to trust in the secret project this impossible ship that might be their only hope. As the meeting ended, Kate turned to Marcus. "Is the crew ready?" He nodded. "Captain Hayes and his team have been training for years. They can deploy within 24 hours. Kate looked back at the hologram of the approaching fleet. "Then let's give humanity a fighting chance, and let's show these aliens why they should have thought twice before threatening Earth." 1 mile beneath the Nevada desert, Chief Engineer Linda Cooper walked through the massive underground hangar that housed humanity's greatest secret. The U.S. Prometheus stretched out before her, its dark hull gleaming under the bright lights. At 1,500 feet long, it was larger than any aircraft carrier ever built, but it wasn't meant for water. It was built for the stars. "And this is our engine room," Linda said to the group of new crew members following her. She pressed her hand against a scanner, and thick doors slid open with a soft hiss. "What you're about to see has never been shown to the public." The new crew members gasped as they entered. Instead of traditional engines, the room was filled with crystalline structures that pulsed with blue light. In the center, a sphere of pure energy floated in a containment field, shifting between different colors. "This is the quantum matrix drive," Linda explained, pointing to the sphere. "Think of normal space travel like walking on a road. You have to cover every inch of distance. But our ship, it's like folding the road in half and stepping across. We don't just move through space, we bend it." Lieutenant Rick Sanders raised his hand. "But how is that possible? Everything we learned about physics says this shouldn't work." Linda smiled. 20 years ago, scientists at CERN discovered something strange. Quantum particles weren't just entangled in space, they could be entangled in reality itself. Private companies started researching it in secret. Then we found out we could control it. She led them to a control panel covered in holographic displays. "The crystals you see are quantum processors. They don't just compute, they actually reshape the quantum field around the ship. We can phase through solid matter, appear in multiple places at once, or redirect enemy weapons back at them." The room fell silent as everyone took in this information. These weren't just rookie crew members. They were some of the best pilots, engineers, and scientists Earth had to offer. And even they were stunned by what they were seeing. Captain David Hayes entered the engine room, his presence immediately commanding attention. He was in his 40s, with gray starting to show in his dark hair, but his eyes were sharp and focused. "I hope you're all getting comfortable with our new home," he said, "because in less than 24 hours, we're taking this ship into battle." He walked to the center of the room, next to the glowing quantum sphere. "I know most of you have families up there, people you love, people you want to protect. The aliens think they're dealing with a primitive species that will either surrender or die. They have no idea what humanity is truly capable of." Linda pulled up a hologram showing the ship's defensive systems. "Our quantum shields don't just block attacks, they absorb energy and redirect it. The more they hit us, the stronger we become. And wait until they see our weapon systems." She pressed another button, and the hologram changed to show the torpedo bays. Traditional torpedoes use explosives. Ours use controlled quantum events. One hit can tear apart the fabric of space-time around an enemy ship. "Isn't that dangerous?" asked Sarah Miller, one of the weapons officers. "What if something goes wrong?" "That's why we've spent years testing everything," Linda replied. "The quantum processors have triple redundancy. If anything starts to go wrong, the system shuts down automatically. We've thought of every possible problem." Captain Hayes stepped forward again. "I know this is overwhelming. You've spent months training in simulators, but seeing the real thing is different. If anyone wants to back out, now is the time. Once we launch, there's no turning back." No one moved. No one spoke. They all knew what was at stake. "Good," Hayes said with a nod. "Get some rest. Tomorrow, we make history. Tomorrow, we show the universe that humanity isn't just another primitive species to be conquered. We're going to give these aliens a surprise they'll never forget." As the crew members filed out, Linda stayed behind with Captain Hayes. They both stared at the quantum sphere, watching its colors shift and swirl. "Do you think we're ready?" Linda asked quietly. Hayes watched the energy patterns dance. "We better be. Because right now, we're all that stands between Earth and extinction. And I don't plan on letting humanity down." Above them, through a mile of rock and steel, the Nevada sun beat down on the desert. And beyond that, in the cold darkness of space, thousands of alien ships continued their advance, completely unaware that they were about to meet the most advanced warship humanity had ever built. Lieutenant John Rivers hadn't slept in 20 hours. His eyes were fixed on the sensor displays in the U.S. Prometheus's command center, watching the red dots of the Zoraxian fleet as they passed Jupiter. They had just destroyed the research stations hidden on Europa, killing 53 scientists who couldn't evacuate in time. "They're moving in a strange pattern," he said, rubbing his tired eyes. The alien ships seemed to be shifting positions in a way that made no sense. "It's like they're searching for something." Dr. Emma Stewart looked up from her workstation nearby. She had been studying the alien shield frequencies nonstop since they got their first good readings. "Show me their movement data for the last 6 hours." John sent the information to her screen. Emma's eyes widened as she looked at the numbers. "They're not just searching. They're scanning. They know we have something hidden." Captain Hayes walked onto the bridge, his uniform crisp despite the late hour. "What have you found?" "The aliens aren't just coming to conquer us," Emma explained, pulling up the data on the main screen. "Their scan patterns suggest they detected energy traces from our quantum matrix tests. They're looking for advanced technology." The captain's face hardened. "So this isn't just about adding Earth to their empire. They want our quantum technology." "Sir," John called out suddenly, 3 alien destroyers just broke from the main fleet. They're heading straight for Mars at high speed." "They must have detected the backup facilities we built there," Hayes said. He pressed the ship-wide communication button. "All hands to battle stations. This is not a drill. Repeat, all hands to battle stations." Throughout the massive ship, lights shifted to combat status. Crew members rushed to their positions, all their training kicking in at once. Linda Cooper's voice came over the intercom from engineering. "Captain, the quantum drive isn't fully calibrated yet. We need another 12 hours." "We don't have 12 hours," Hayes replied. "How long can you give me?" There was a pause filled with the sound of rapid typing. 2 hours. Maybe 3. But the secondary systems won't be at full power. Make it work, Linda. That's an order. In the weapons control room, Sarah Miller and her team were loading the quantum torpedoes. Each one was handled with extreme care. A single mistake could tear a hole in reality itself. Dr. Marcus Foster rushed onto the bridge, holding a tablet with flashing red warnings. "Captain, we have a problem. The quantum field is showing strange fluctuations. If we launch now, we might not be able to control all of the ship's abilities." "What's our worst-case scenario?" Hayes asked. "We could phase through solid matter without meaning to, or split into multiple versions of the ship without being able to merge back together." Hayes looked at the main screen, where the alien destroyers were getting closer to Mars. 2,000 people lived in those hidden bases. He didn't have time for doubts. "Everyone listen up," he announced ship-wide. "We're launching in 2 hours. Yes, the systems aren't perfect. Yes, there are risks. But right now, we're the only hope those people on Mars have." He turned to Emma. "Dr. Stewart, I need you to keep working on those shield frequencies. If we can't use all our quantum abilities, we'll need every advantage we can get." Emma nodded, her fingers flying over her keyboard. "I think I've found a pattern in their shield modulation. If we time our attacks just right, we might be able to slip our torpedoes through their defenses." John Rivers suddenly straightened in his chair. "Captain, the alien destroyers are charging weapons. They'll be in range of Mars in 90 minutes. "Linda," Hayes called to engineering, "we just lost 30 minutes. How fast can you get us ready? Working on it, sir. Linda's voice was strained but determined. We're routing power from non-essential systems now. We might fry some circuits, but we'll be ready to launch in 1 hour. Hayes looked around at his crew. They were all scared. He could see it in their eyes. But they were also ready. Ready to fight. Ready to protect their people. Ready to show these aliens that humanity wouldn't go quietly into the night. 1 hour, he said firmly. In 1 hour, we show the Zoraxians what happens when they threaten our people. Get ready, everyone. We're about to make history. Above them, through the rock and steel of their underground base, the stars were waiting. And among those stars, an alien fleet was about to learn that they had made a terrible mistake in underestimating Earth. The ground shook as massive doors opened in the Nevada desert. Sand cascaded down into the underground facility as the U.S. Prometheus rose from its hiding place like a giant metal whale breaching the ocean's surface. Its dark hull caught the morning sunlight, the quantum matrix crystals pulsing with blue energy beneath its armor. All systems holding steady, Linda Cooper reported from engineering. The quantum drive hummed around her, its core glowing brighter than ever. We're at 70% power and climbing. On the bridge, Captain Hayes stood at the command center, watching as his crew prepared for humanity's first real space battle. Communications check. Lieutenant Martinez, are you receiving anything from the alien fleet? Rachel Martinez adjusted her headset, her eyes focused on the translation screens. Yes, sir. And you need to hear this. She pressed a button, and alien voices filled the bridge, their words automatically translated into English. Unknown energy signature detected on Earth's surface. Impossible readings from Sector 7. All ships halt advance. New threat detected. The alien chatter was filled with confusion and, surprisingly, fear. The Prometheus wasn't just surprising them. It was scaring them. They're scanning us with everything they've got, John Rivers reported from his sensor station. Their energy readings are off the charts. Emma Stewart smiled as she looked at her own readings. The quantum field is working perfectly. Every time they scan us, our ship seems to be in slightly different places. They can't get a clear reading. Captain Hayes nodded. Time to show them what we can really do. Helm, take us up. Full power to the quantum drive. The massive ship rose higher, its engines nearly silent despite their immense power. As they passed through clouds, the quantum field around the ship created strange distortions in the air. To any observers on the ground, it would have looked like reality itself was bending. Rachel's voice suddenly cut through the quiet tension. Sir, 3 Zoraxian destroyers breaking off from their Mars attack run. They're heading straight for us. Perfect, Hayes said. Let's give them a proper welcome. Dr. Foster, activate the phase drive. Marcus Foster's fingers flew over his console. Phase drive active. Remember, we've never tested this against actual enemy ships before. The first alien destroyer opened fire, sending a blast of plasma energy toward the Prometheus. But instead of hitting the ship or being deflected by shields, something extraordinary happened. The Prometheus simply wasn't there when the blast arrived. It had phased partially out of normal space-time. Holy shit, someone whispered on the bridge. The alien plasma blast passed right through where they had been, hitting nothing but air. Our turn, Hayes commanded. Weapons, prepare quantum torpedo. Single shot, minimal power. Let's not destroy them if we don't have to. Brian Clark, at the weapons station, locked onto the lead destroyer. Torpedo ready, sir. Target locked. Fire. The quantum torpedo launched, its trail distorting space as it moved. The alien ship tried to dodge, but the torpedo followed, guided by the same quantum principles that powered the Prometheus. When it hit the destroyer's shields, it didn't explode. Instead, it created a bubble of altered space-time that caused the alien ship's drive system to fail completely. The alien vessel hung dead in space, its lights flickering. The other 2 destroyers immediately backed away. Rachel Martinez listened to her translations with growing excitement. Sir, their communications are going crazy. They're calling us. They're calling us demons. Space demons who can walk through solid matter. Let's give them something else to talk about, Hayes said with a grim smile. Dr. Foster, show them the uncertainty field. The quantum matrix drive pulsed, and suddenly there seemed to be 3 Prometheus ships instead of 1. Each one looked slightly different, shifting and changing position in ways that defied normal physics. The alien ships backed away even further. Their scans would show that all 3 images were both real and unreal at the same time, a quantum uncertainty made visible on a massive scale. New transmissions, Rachel reported, her voice filled with awe. They're sending warnings to their fleet. They're saying we have weapons and defenses they've never seen before, that we're too dangerous to attack directly. Captain Hayes looked at the main screen where the disabled alien destroyer floated helplessly while its companions retreated. Earth's first real space battle was turning out to be shorter than anyone had expected. Send them a message, Lieutenant Martinez, Hayes said. Tell them this was just a demonstration. Tell them that if they want to see what this ship can really do, they're welcome to keep threatening our planet. As Rachel sent the message, the crew of the Prometheus watched the alien ships retreat. Their first test in real combat had been a complete success, but everyone knew this was just the beginning. The Zoraxian fleet didn't wait long to strike back. 50 warships broke away from their main fleet, their plasma cannons glowing with deadly energy. They had decided to eliminate this new threat before it could reach their main force. Multiple incoming plasma torpedoes, John Rivers called out from his sensor station. At least 30 of them, approaching fast. Captain Hayes remained calm in his command chair. Linda, how are the quantum shields holding up? Better than we hoped, Linda Cooper replied from engineering. The quantum matrix crystals pulsed faster as she adjusted their power flow. Remember what I said about absorbing energy? Time to prove it. The plasma torpedoes struck the Prometheus all at once, but instead of exploding, they seemed to sink into the quantum field around the ship. The shield glowed brighter and brighter, changing colors from blue to purple to white. Power levels rising. Linda's voice was excited. The shields are converting their plasma energy directly into quantum power. We're now at 120% capacity. Brian Clark at the weapons station grinned. Permission to return fire, Captain. I've got some ideas about how to use this extra power. Show them what you can do, Mr. Clark. But remember, we want to disable, not destroy. Brian nodded and began programming the quantum torpedoes. This time, he split the extra power between 5 torpedoes instead of just 1. Each torpedo glowed with absorbed alien energy as it launched. The alien ships tried to dodge, but these torpedoes were different. They didn't just fly straight. They seemed to bend around obstacles, following paths that shouldn't have been possible. When they hit their targets, each torpedo created a bubble of twisted space-time that left the alien ships spinning helplessly. Sir, Rachel Martinez called from communications. The alien commander is demanding to know what we did to their ships. Tell them we turned their own energy against them, Hayes replied. Let them think about that for a while. But the aliens weren't done. The remaining ships spread out in an attack formation and began firing everything they had. Plasma beams, energy pulses, and strange weapons the humans had never seen before all struck the Prometheus at once. They're trying to overload our shields, Emma Stewart reported, watching the energy readings climb. But they don't understand. They're just making us stronger. The quantum field around the ship was now so bright, it was hard to look at. The Prometheus appeared to be in 3 places at once again, but this time each version was glowing with absorbed alien energy. Linda, Hayes called out, can we do something useful with all this extra power? Oh, you bet we can. Linda's fingers flew over her controls, routing power to the quantum uncertainty drive. Dr. Foster, ready for something crazy. Marcus Foster looked up from his station, defined crazy. Instead of answering, Linda activated the drive. The Prometheus didn't just split into 3 images this time. It seemed to be everywhere at once, appearing and disappearing around the alien fleet like a ghost. Each time it appeared, it fired quantum torpedoes powered by the aliens' own weapons. The Zoraxian ships began to panic. Their neat formation broke apart as each ship tried to track a target that seemed to exist in multiple places simultaneously. Their weapons fire became wild and unfocused. They're broadcasting on all frequencies, Rachel reported, trying not to laugh. They're saying we're using impossible technology, that we must be breaking the laws of physics. If they think this is impossible, Hayes said with a smile, wait until they see what we do next. Linda, remember that trick we tested last month? The quantum resonance pulse. But sir, we never tried it at full power. No time like the present. Charge it up. The Prometheus's quantum drive began to hum at a new frequency. The sound traveled through the ship's hull and out into space. When it reached the alien vessels, their shields began to flicker and die. The pulse is matching their shield frequency perfectly, Emma exclaimed. Their defensive systems are completely confused. One by one, the alien ships lost power. They floated in space, their mighty weapons useless against technology they couldn't understand. The first real battle between Earth and the Zoraxian Empire was turning into a complete rout. Send a message to the main fleet, Hayes ordered. Tell them their advance force has been disabled using only a fraction of our capabilities. Ask them if they'd like to discuss terms for a peaceful withdrawal from our solar system. As Rachel sent the message, the crew of the Prometheus looked at their fallen enemies with pride. They had just proved that humanity wasn't just ready for the stars. They were ready to defend them. The Zoraxian main fleet hung in space near Jupiter's orbit, their commanders watching in disbelief as the strange Earth ship seemed to dance between different points in reality. Every scan they ran showed different results. Every attempt to predict its movements failed. Inside the Prometheus, Lieutenant Amy Peterson had an idea. Captain, I've been studying their communication patterns. I think we can use their own broadcasts to spread fear through their fleet. Tell me more, Hayes said, leaning forward in his command chair. Their ships share battle data constantly. If we can make them see something truly frightening, the whole fleet will know about it within minutes. Amy's fingers moved quickly over her console. And I know just what to show them. Dr. Foster understood immediately. The quantum mirror effect. We've never tried it at this scale, but do it, Hayes ordered. Linda, can you give them the power they need? In engineering, Linda Cooper nodded even though no one could see her. After all that energy we absorbed from their attacks, we've got power to spare. The quantum matrix drive hummed to life with a new tone. In space around the Prometheus, reality began to ripple like water. Suddenly, the ship wasn't just in 3 places. It was everywhere, creating a sphere of mirrors that surrounded part of the alien fleet. Each mirror showed the Prometheus, but slightly different, as if they were looking at infinite possible versions of the ship. Broadcasting their reactions ship-wide, Rachel Martinez announced, letting everyone hear the translated alien communications. By the Ancient Ones, what are we seeing? They're breaking quantum laws. How can one ship exist in so many realities at once? Their technology exceeds our understanding. Hall Wright, monitoring the ship's AI systems, spoke up. Their fleet movements are becoming erratic. The AI predicts they're losing their command structure. Each ship is starting to act independently out of fear. Captain Hayes smiled. Time to push them over the edge. Dr. Foster, show them what happens when we really let loose. Marcus Foster activated a sequence they'd only tested in simulations. The quantum mirrors began to spin, creating a vortex of possible realities. At the center, the real Prometheus started to glow with accumulated energy. Broadcasting on all frequencies, Amy announced, sending them the technical data about what we're doing. Well, some of it anyway. The alien ships started backing away. Their neat formation was completely broken now. Some ships were trying to turn around, while others were firing randomly into the quantum mirror field, their shots passing harmlessly through the images. Their flagship is broadcasting a fleet-wide order, Rachel reported excitedly. They're classifying us as a Class X civilization. That's their highest threat level. Linda's voice came over the intercom. Captain, we're picking up some strange readings. I think we might have scared them a bit too much. Several of their ships are overloading their engines trying to get away. Show me, Hayes ordered. The main screen displayed several alien ships pushing their drives beyond safe limits. Their panic was so complete that they risked destroying their own ships just to escape. Send them safety protocols, Hayes ordered. We want them afraid, not dead. Amy quickly transmitted instructions that would help the alien ships power down safely. It was a gesture that surprised the Zoraxians. Their enemy was trying to prevent them from accidentally destroying themselves. New transmission from their flagship, Rachel announced. They're asking for a temporary ceasefire to discuss terms. They say any species that can manipulate quantum reality so easily and still shows mercy must be worth talking to. The bridge crew looked at each other, pride showing on their faces. They had done more than just win a battle. They had made one of the galaxy's most powerful empires rethink their entire approach to Earth. Tell them we accept, Hayes said. But remind them that everything they've seen today was just a small demonstration. The Prometheus has plenty more surprises if they decide to break the ceasefire. As the message was sent, Linda's voice came over the intercom again. Should I power down the quantum mirrors, sir? Hayes thought for a moment. Leave them running for now. Let them keep wondering just how many versions of this ship really exist. Sometimes the fear of what we might do is more powerful than anything we actually do. The crew watched as the mighty Zoraxian fleet remained frozen in space, their ships surrounded by endless reflections of the Prometheus. Earth's first major space battle was ending not with more fighting, but with the beginning of diplomatic talks. And it was all because humanity had shown them something they had never seen before, a species that could turn the quantum fabric of reality itself into a weapon. 2 days after the battle, the U.S. Prometheus floated near Europa, its quantum field now calm and steady. Inside the ship's main conference room, Captain Hayes sat across from the Zoraxian fleet commander, a tall alien whose circular array of eyes blinked in sequence as they talked. So you're telling me, the alien commander said through the translation system, that this ship was built in complete secrecy, that your own people don't know it exists. Hayes nodded. Most humans still think we're decades away from advanced space travel. Sometimes the best defense is the one your enemy doesn't see coming. The alien made a sound that the translators interpreted as both respect and amusement. We scanned your planet for months. We saw your primitive rockets, your small space stations. We thought we knew everything about Earth's capabilities. That was the plan, Hayes replied. While the world watched our public space program, we were building something far more advanced underground. In engineering, Linda Cooper was explaining the basics of quantum matrix technology to a group of amazed Zoraxian scientists. She had removed some key components from the display models. Earth wasn't ready to share all its secrets. Your understanding of quantum mechanics is remarkable, one alien scientist said. We thought such technology was centuries away for your species. Linda smiled. Humans are full of surprises. Speaking of which, she pressed a button, and a hologram appeared showing 3 more ships under construction in secret facilities around Earth. The alien's eyes widened all at once. Meanwhile, in the ship's data center, Rachel Martinez and Amy Peterson were going through the information the Zoraxians had shared as part of the peace treaty. Earth was now officially recognized as a Class X civilization, a status usually reserved for species that had been spacefaring for thousands of years. Look at this, Rachel said, pointing to her screen. They're already sending warnings to other alien empires. Nobody is supposed to attack or interfere with Class X worlds. Amy laughed. And to think, We achieved that status with just one ship. Imagine what they'll think when we reveal the whole fleet." In his private lab, Dr. Marcus Foster was studying the battle data with Dr. Emma Stewart. The quantum matrix drive had performed better than their wildest expectations, especially when absorbing and redirecting enemy energy. "We could power whole cities with this technology," Emma said excitedly. "Clean energy, better transportation, revolutionary medical devices. The applications are endless." Marcus nodded. "But we'll reveal it slowly. The world isn't ready for everything at once. First, we need to make sure Earth is safe." On the bridge, John Rivers and Brian Clark were updating the ship's defense systems based on what they'd learned about Zoraxian weapons. "Next time someone tries to invade Earth," Brian said with a grin, "they'll be in for an even bigger surprise." Back in the conference room, the peace treaty was nearly complete. The Zoraxian commander had one last question. "Your ship," he said, gesturing at the walls around them. "You call it Prometheus. What does this name mean?" Hayes smiled. In human mythology, Prometheus was a being who gave humans the gift of fire, technology that changed everything. This ship is humanity's new fire. It marks the beginning of our true journey to the stars." The alien commander stood, extending all four of his arms in a formal gesture. "Then let it be known across the galaxy, Earth is not to be underestimated. You have earned your place among the stellar powers." After the aliens left, Hayes made his way to the bridge. The crew was tired but proud. They had defended Earth, established peace, and changed humanity's place in the universe, all without most of Earth even knowing it had happened. "Message from Admiral Wilson, sir," Rachel announced. "The UN Security Council has approved the construction of 5 more quantum matrix ships. They'll be revealed to the public gradually over the next few years." Hayes looked out at the stars through the main viewport. The Zoraxian fleet was already leaving the solar system, spreading the word about Earth's remarkable advancement. Other alien civilizations would think twice before threatening their planet now. "Set a course for home," he ordered. "We have a lot of work ahead of us. This isn't just about defending Earth anymore. It's about leading humanity into a new age among the stars." As the Prometheus turned toward Earth, its quantum drive humming softly, the crew knew they had not just won a battle. They had changed the course of human history, and somewhere, on the planet below, a new generation of ships was being built, preparing for the day when humanity would finally take its place as equals among the stars.